Witch Doctor.
Complexities turn to pick. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. Virtus Pro's turn to pick. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. Complexities turn to ban. Virtus Pro's turn to ban. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. 10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Virtus Pro's turn to pick. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Complexities turn to pick. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. for battle.
Well, it's certainly no question what the crowd is favoring, as obviously here in the heart of Moscow, it's all VP fans all the way, but myself and Purge, a little bit split as well. Virtus Pro and Complexity, I kind of want to side with Blitz, and I kind of like the Medusa still, just the way they played it, but I felt going into this series Complexity was a better team. What are your thoughts?
They also have an Oracle though, and that hero's pretty bad still. And
yeah.
It doesn't really counter a huge amount of the things that Complexity is throwing out. And in fact, I really like how the Invoker is going to amplify all of the early ganks, roam, and all that stuff that Cole's going to put out. Like Ravage into Sunstrike, Berserker's Call into Strike, Frostbite into Sunstrike. They've got so many ways to get stuff done. And the same with CM. CM can set up double kills. She can zone the Batrider boars, for example. I just feel like Cole's going to get more out of the lane. They're going to just farm a really fast item on Limp, most likely. Fast Blink Dagger, stack camps with their supports, and then do a similar thing that they did when they first revealed the Axe, which is have Limp go crazy and just get a lot done.
It does seem a lot harder to read, or a lot easier to read Complexity's timings just because they've got, some good early game, a lot of team fight. What would you say Virtus Pro's timings are going to really base around?
Level 6 is Batrider, Medusa, the Beastmaster. I guess Oracle is very high damage in the early game. That's one of the really good benefits. Noah Dance is a really high impact support, but putting him into those kind of early rotations can definitely be very strong. So that could be really where they go for. Oh, G mid Beastmaster. This is a classic, dude. He used to play this for months when he used to live in China on LTD International.
Well, he's going to be joined by No Fear, and they're going to need it too, because Limp is actually going to be in the mid lane as the Axe to match up against this Beastmaster. Virtus Pro already off to an okay start, as we saw earlier that they did take away an Observer Ward that was blocking out the off-lane camp, but it's not really being needed so far. FNG diving in deep here. He's just hoping to be able to get his level 2, battling it out with Hanskin. Frostbite still available. They can try and get some more damage, but Hanskin is going to just content himself with some more right clicks. That will leave First Spirit alone at the top lane as Swindle's going to be jungling away. He's going to be in the lane against Yoku and Aloha Dance. Not sure if he actually showed himself yet, and he might just be sneaking in experience without them realizing it.
Yeah, this is pretty standard. This is like the way Complexity was playing in some of the early matches of the tournament. They just take Swindles out of the offlane, they jungle him, and they set Z-Freak on a roaming hero that's semi-survivable in the offlane. He gets levels for free, and they're proficient from the jungling as well. So Z-Freak's going to be happy with this one.
He's already level 2. Back to our mid lane. That's going to be pretty action-packed as he managed to get the call off and gets 2 spins on G, dealing out a lot of damage. That being said, Maledict is a very big problem for the Axe.
Yeah, it's one of the nicest counters to heroes, and especially Axe. They just got to right click on it, and they can get value from it.
FNG challenging Chessie at that bottom lane. Good way to be able to deal with that cold snap, forcing Chessie to actually be the one to turn and flee. Batrider's got his level 3, so it seems like I've been kind of used to seeing FNG flounder a little bit in the laning phase. This time, it really does seem like he's picked it up and is doing everything he can the first 2 minutes to succeed.
Yeah, he's frustrating Invoker pretty well. Oh, he grabs that Hatred, he's going to be coming mid, but Axe is under the tower, and they're hiding the courier. Very smart.
Yeah, he wants it. Alex on to Z-Freak. They're going to try and finish him off with some more right clicks. They might be successful here. Yep, sure enough, Yoku is going to be the one with a long-range arrow to pick up the first blood.
Still there? They are going cross-flex Invoker, by the way, so he's going to have EMP, which will be able to drain Medusa's mana, limiting her effectiveness. So that could be pretty huge. Tidehunter shifts back to the offlane with Z-Freak's death there. And that means, especially with the wave chain here, he should be able to get a lot of experience.
Combined with, we've got some pretty good, damage over time spells as well. Most notably, it's going to be that Earth Spirit Magnetized. That it will combo really well with the Cold Snap. That's the other thing I was kind of thinking about with the Kawasu X Invoker and what it brings to you over Kawasu Exor.
They are going to have a lot of trouble with Batrider initiation, though. Like, the only good counter initiation spell they have is maybe like Blink Ravage, Blink Call, Tornado maybe. So I think VP definitely has the better catch at the start of the fight, assuming that it's a bit of a gank kind of scenario, but in terms of Wombo Combo, Complexity easily has the better draft. It's not even close there.
Swindle's back in lane now. will be able to pick up a little something. But Yoku still has his phase boots and should be able to zone out the Tidehunter almost single-handedly. And that's always the problem against the Deuce. Any sort of melee offlaner is always going to have a natural issue because Mystic Snake is such a powerful harassing ability.
And the phase is so much plus damage, completely offsets his Kraken Shell. So it helps with the Wraith Band as well.
And there it is.
Ooh, the bounce.
Good Mystic Snake bounce. Lim's getting a decent amount, 16-1 compared to the Beastmaster's 19-5, but now the roll in, and G, well, he might have the higher CS. He may still lose this lane. His call goes out. All they need is just to be able to finish him off. One more, and there it is. Z-Freak will claim the last hit.
Actually, such a good lane. Like, I'm trying to think of heroes that would survive that. It's very few.
Yeah.
You get slow for 2 seconds, then you stun for 0.75, now 1.5 seconds, and then he calls you afterwards. Like, just so much damage.
The Beastmaster, normally those boars are a really big benefit, but this time around it actually just helps Limp spin a little bit more.
So Beastmaster will keep getting pressured here. He may hit a late 6. It's hard to kill as well. Like, how do you kill an axe in the mid lane when your support is a Witch Doctor? Witch Doctor's decent, but it's not as high damage as something else. Oracle's got to spend time top because Tide would get free experience here. So I think killing the axe is going to be a bit problematic. Should keep punishing this lane. It's going to force Witch Doctor to be in the area. Overall, very good for complexity.
Meanwhile, we haven't even talked about the fact that we do have the extra of complexity in the Crystal Maiden, who's going to be spending a lot of time jungling away, has the one level of the aura, hasn't chose to max that out just yet, but that is also really helping out as we continue to see that progress. Heroes like Tidehunter that spam out a lot in order to get them via Anchor Smash will really appreciate the extra help.
Yeah, normally it's a bit more benefit actually, but Axe on the mid lane doesn't really need mana to do last hits or anything like that, so it's not that big of a deal. It does allow them to shave off a ball off of their build mid, because he's just always going to have enough mana.
Ooh, the TP to top lane, this is an early smoke.
I like this. He's a 14 charge on Invoker, he's phase boots as well. His right click damage is good. Swindles isn't 6. That part's a bit weird, but if he picks up like a Gush here at level 4, then they have some pretty good gank setup.
Yeah, the Earth Spirit oftentimes good enough initiation. But we'll see. It is kind of selling. Aloha Dance does manage to get a pull, and Virtus Pro are sitting back decently. It's only the Crystal Maiden at that bottom lane. I'm not sure what else Invoker would be doing at this point in time, but ganking if he's not in lane. The rollout comes in. Z-Freak is that one. The Tornado also dodged by Aloha Dance. Turns around, wondering what the hell is Complexity going to do next.
Pretty huge dodge there. And that wastes a lot of time. And that was Invoker rotating. That's carry essentially. It's going to be a bit weird, but if this kind of stuff keeps happening and he's Quas Wex, VP's just going to roll over Complexity. So they have to be more efficient and execute these ganks perfectly.
Do you think this is the kind of sync lane, Quaswix, Invoke? You don't go to Midas this game? Do you think you just pick up aggressive fighting items?
It's definitely a lot safer to go that build. I don't really feel like Orchid is a super good solution here. They try for mid.
Kicks it into the hold. It's not. They're still going to be able to get the call. Lamp is going to be able to get some spins, hopefully, but G, wow, man, it's just not getting him now. FNG is all over everybody with this Firefly. Lifted to take out soon for the Validate. It looks like the last couple right clicks come in to secure it. Another kill for Virtus Pro, 2-1 now.
They got a great Tornado EMP there, but you know, it just wasn't enough damage to pick off these heroes. Straightforward kill, VP rotates, and this time their gank is more successful.
It was kind of the Invoker, I guess, failed attempt at top lane, a natural rotation through mid was kind of a good read, and Virtus Pro punished that quite heavily by moving multiple heroes of their own into the mid lane, and were successful in part due to just a little bit of unfortunate RNG from the Axe. He didn't quite get the spins he was hoping for as well.
Yeah, if Z-Freak stun landed, it would have been a little easier ultimately. They kind of had to force it, bottom an extra half second or so. And the snakes just keep on bouncing to Swindle. He does have Ravage ready, but not even vaguely close to his Blink Dagger. Handskin on the other side. He was sitting in the safe lane most of this early game. I don't know if I even like this. I feel like he could be showing up to fights as well, because it's not like you're going to take 2 minutes of farm as a Crystal Maiden in the safe lane and really accelerated anything.
Would you rather seen the Crystal Maiden be rotating in that situation where they went top lane? Would you rather seen that? It doesn't provide the same kind of fighting power, but it does, you get punished less if the game is, say, successful, or even if it fails, right, at least you still have the Invoker farm.
Well, the problem is they needed Invoker to get the kill.
Yeah.
Like, you needed the mana drain. There's simply no other way that they were going to get successful against Medusa. They need way too much physical damage, and she doesn't output that same amount.
Right.
I mean, she's mostly good because her spells are very low cooldown. You can cast them often. She have a big mana pool due to her high regen. So that's the value of Crystal Maiden. But if you just sit her in the safe lane and last hit her, she's still squishy. She's still gonna not do much against a hero like Batrider. So you have to get more value out of early game heroes. If they don't, they lose.
There she goes. The Blink Dagger for the Batrider is up right around that 9-minute timing that's pretty standardized by now. Complexity. Hopefully they have that in mind, otherwise they're going to get caught out by the first Blink Dagger reveal. Looks like currently they're going to be going for a initiation on Chessie. This Blink.
Might as well. I mean, he's their team's carry essentially, so it's looking scary for Complexity. I don't really like their options here too much. I just feel like they're putting so much onto this safe lane Invoker, and it's not even Exhort,
Yeah.
so he's not going to accelerate into damage. It's almost entirely based on how fights go.
The axe certainly isn't picking up, I think, as much as they hoped. So it really does come back to the Invoker as Chessie, or rather Limp's going to be slowed down even further as he's going to be initiated on. Primal Roar, Freezing Field, trying to keep these heroes back, but it's not successful. But maybe they can get turnaround kills. The save from the Oracle, FNG. But G himself is still going to be slowed down enough that he will obviously die. The Blink back for the Batrider, but it looks like he still went down. The Freezing Field damage through the Oracle ultimate was enough to pop him off. I don't think they got a single heal onto the Batrider despite the promise.
Oh, okay, yeah. She must have gotten a little lucky because that was about the extent of her ultimate, but very surprised to see 2 heroes die. That's one way to win fights, I guess. Let them come to you, then you'd be support, similar to what VP was doing in the early game. So that's a pretty big kill, and they didn't even use Ravage. That cost them very little, just a couple Ps there. So Lexi's gonna be really happy with that, and that's gonna give them a lot of longevity.
Big stacks. This will be one way that even if Virtus Pro are allocating a lot of resources to keep the axe down, he should still be able to make some good item progression as he has the Ancients to be able to farm away. He's probably waiting for his Vanguard just to make it a bit safer, so he's probably going to go off in camp, farm that up, that'll give him the ring up, and he can go with a Vanguard into Ancients.
Yeah, definitely a way to do that. Well, Oracle in that last fight did do his best to help, but it didn't do that much. And I am not so sure that it's going to do everything they need. Can you axe chop through False Promise? I believe you can.
Yes, if you're low enough, right? So this is going to have to be like Aloha Dance. You have to early False Promise if the hero looks to be in trouble.
He should be able to remove the buff of Berserker's Call as well, so he just reacts fast enough, he can remove those big stunts on those important heroes, and BP should be able to turn fights. But if Swindles gets a good Blink Dagger off, for example, something like that, it could do a Ravage, sets up a fight that will up for Complexity or allows him to kill somebody fast enough.
So there, just Limp starts clearing through this. I wonder if his item build is going to be kind of normal, you know, Blink Dagger, that sort of thing.
Most likely, yeah, definitely. That's what he was doing every single game. Blade of the game,
I'm not sure if I'm
pretty okay, I guess.
I don't think Blade Mail is as effective as it normally is, but it's still kind of such a good attack. No fear. Cold snap, and no, the Ravage not quite enough to finish him off. He's going to get a little bit of healing, will be able to survive through the right. Look at Chessie now. Chessie's going to be stuck under the flames of FNG. Chessie, Maledict on him. It's going to be enough to keep him down. They've already traded one, and it will be for nothing but one. 4-4 in that bottom lane. He's going to be taking the tier 1. He stops Dwindles in his tracks, gets the right click. No deny for you. Here's Dwindles, and now G will calmly walk himself away.
Yep, basically, Swindles can't do the damage anymore with this many Kraken cell levels, and he's going for the early mech build. Something he's done in previous games, so prioritizing the heals and the survivability over the initiation timings. And his Ravage worked completely fine that fight. Maybe would have killed Witch Doctor as well if he had a blink, but once his once the mech actually does hit, the Complexity is going to be way stronger at fighting than VP.
One big thing about this Medusa game, it's very different from last time. We don't need a Linken's in this game. So this means Medusa can actually farm to something else. You said you couldn't take damage against that Kraken shell. Well, it turns out to be true. Even with the double damage, G still can't go for Swindles.
That's ridiculous. That actually a 48 damage block with, he should be able to damage him. This is going to be really tough.
Yeah, it would just take way too long to actually finish him off. Doesn't want to dive into that tier 2.
Do you see that? Rock counter's flying. Everybody knows that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Ooh, great ward reward here by Z-Freak. That's huge. This is a pretty common play game for VP or any dire team to put wards in the range. You know, I said great counter. He's actually got 3 sentries in his jungle, so he eventually got one. But it's really important that you do that because sentries, you can have unlimited amounts of those. Observer wards do cost money, and more importantly, they're on a timer. So if you do grab those, they can't get that vision. So now by dewarding that, Complexity has better control of their jungle. It's going to give them better access to farm and levels and all that good stuff, and might transition them better into the late game against Medusa. But pretty soon here, they got to deal with this. Like, Batrider's got his Blink Dagger, Medusa's continuing to farm. Still looking a little scary for Complexity. They got to start making a lot of map pressure happen.
I believe that scan was Virtus Pro because there was a Batrider showing at the top lane, so I don't think Complexity were too scared. And so that, I believe that was a VP scan that allows G to be able to continue to stay farmed up inside of the jungle. But
pretty
he's
easy
just keeping the lane pushed in as much as possible.
Yeah, like he can farm the lane, he can farm the jungle when it feels a little dangerous.
Oh no, Complexity scan.
And then they get a lot of advantage of this. Another ward down put down for VP, this time covering near the Roche area. But Complexity is ready to fight finally. Is Mech up? Yeah, it is. This is why they're fighting.
Yeah, Blink, Mech, Vanguard. Only hero that hasn't had amazing item progression and should be farther ahead than normal would be that Invoker, but unfortunately, some of the rotations just didn't quite work out. They're going to surround this tier 1 tower mid lane. They're looking for the wraparound here. Tornado will be able to catch interference. It's probably just a quick one-off. It's not really what Complexity truly wanted. In fact, it's not even going to be one-off. Witch Doctor managed to outrun the gush there of Swindles. And VP, they're giving up this tier 1 tower, but it's a win for sure. As they're in the bottom lane still with the Beastmaster, with his Boars and Necronomicon going on. And top lane, Batrider's also keeping that lane kind of pushed in as well.
Yeah, so overall okay for Complexity. You might be wondering why they didn't go look in the jungle for Medusa, but I think they learned their lesson from last game. If you don't kill him right away, it's a really bad situation to start off with. They would have basically Tornado EMP without her being able to cast Ultimate. And if they do that, yeah, they can kill her, but that's pretty much everything instead of taking.
Paladins are now with the Death Ward. They think they can do this one, but the Ravage goes down. Swindle's also going to take his chances, but he's still top of the Primal Roar with Ravage. Swindle's is hoping to be able to save it, but it's not enough. The Magic will do damage. VP is enough to be able to take it. The fight goes on. There goes the call. Limp's going to take on one. He's looking for a low hot chance. He's helping fight out the mana to be able to get it. Now he does. Takes out the Oracle. FT, make it 3. Not Limp. Unable to get over that cliff. He's going to stick onto Yoko instead. As Vertus thought, pickoff was going to be the way to start this one, but it actually turns into tears for them as they're waiting on the 5th hero to go down. Jump forward. Another stall. Triple kill for Limp.
There was so much damage done by Z-Freak there. The fact that he was able to get his ultimate off, as soon as team got there, it changed everything. And now they steal the Ancient stack as well. Oh, and the other really crucial thing was the mana drain on the Medusa. The EMP hit him after the Berserker's call from Axe and turned things around. No teamfight ultimate coming out of Medusa. Already used the Roar on Tidehunter, which is good, but not amazing. And then from there, what does Oracle do? Like, him ulting anybody on his team is not going to turn things around. Because Medusa's not that high damage yet, so even buying her 6 seconds does so little.
You know, I had thought that Virtus Pro, I think they were actually playing it rather well. They had pretty good reads. You know, given that tier 1 tower not getting caught by the smoke rotation, I thought that was a small victory. It was a small sacrifice on their part, but it read into a general good read of what the game knowledge is in this game, which is, you know, just like Complexity. They're gonna get really good farm, man. Don't try to test that too much. Let's just split push. Let's just try and get farm as much as possible. And it's only when Complexity start pushing maybe tier 2s or even high ground, that's when we're gonna be forced into the 5v5. But that fight was certainly not what they were expecting, and a 1-for-5 exchange is gonna put Virtus so sorely out of sorts.
Oh man, and that was a full 4-stat for Axe just now. Like, that is an incredible jump farm here for 7 minutes. And it saves so many people as well. You can 4-stat somebody before they get lassoed, for example. If somebody gets roared, it's just gonna give them a lot of flexibility. And they pick up a Midas now on Invoker, obviously very late, but this will scale him better as a core into the late game. And he can even transition, like more levels, he can transition into Exhort Invoker, which means actual damage contribution.
Yeah, I was just like, just because he was building the stats, I thought maybe this would be one of those rare games we don't see a Midas on the Invoker, but even then, he still goes back for it. Level's just too important. Can't deny that 9 to 5 complexity. It struggled a little bit early on, but they finally got that great team fight thanks to the jump of Limp, and now they need to be able to build more off of that. That's why they're looking for Smoke Inc. They're going to rotate across the map here, looking to invade their own jungle, clear that one out, and if they found a pick, maybe we could talk about, well, actually they have a pretty bad rotating team, so I don't think that would be an option unless they just wipe VP for nothing.
Yeah, you're definitely right about that. Maybe they get a medallion on one of their heroes, but utility items are more important right now. Crystal Maiden going for 4 staff, it looks like. She's actually got 2 points in her ulti. A little surprised to see that. It's very difficult to afford that mana cost, but 4 in her Arcane Aura right now, she has a ridiculous amount of mana. So, team is just, they can cast spells whenever they want.
BKB, big item pick up for the Deuce Up. Complexity are still the ones in control here, and we'll be able to get a lot more out of the map. They're going to take this tier 1 and the bottom lane. I believe they're just going to keep on going. Just slow down the momentum that they just picked up.
It's going to be a Crimson Guard for Axe as well, which is really good considering the attack speed of Beastmaster. It's going to offset that aura almost entirely. Doesn't work against Death when they're trading towers here, but tier 2 for tier 1 is pretty worth it in here, especially because Complexity wants to get a very strong TP distance for VP if they do ever want to take their super slow rotation.
Right. Probably look towards a tier 2 mid next.
They might just go.
Oh, okay. I kind of like this. Force Verdict's Pro back, right? Let them just continue to push in mid and pop. Start threatening their home, and they'll be forced to mid a 4 or 5 man.
They did an in and out. Crush rate just a little bit, and all of VP finally has to go back, and they back out as the TPs are committing. So they kind of get the jump on them.
Look how far back they went too. They almost went to the river before TPing, right? They were like, we can't afford to get caught by the Bat Rider. Even if it means they miss a little bit farm in the 2 other lanes, they just make sure 100% it's a full safe save.
Yeah, absolutely worth it. The place that VP is likely to have wards is still on their side of the map, and if you look where they are, that's where they're at. They're above Roche. So by running all the way across the map, they guarantee that they don't know where they're at. Well, maybe not guaranteed, but get a really good shot at that, and then no deaths happen, and this will make their next push even stronger.
Another small thing, this really Crimson Guard that's really going to limit the damage of the Dynasty even further. That's the shot. It's just...
Yeah, that's actually true. I didn't even think about that. To heal everybody for 80% of our normal damage, which is not that much higher than 55 relatively. Like, there's actually a lot of damage block now coming out of Cole. And damage reduction. Anchor Smash on Tide, if he even just gets good Anchor Smashes consistently, will help them win team fight big time.
Yeah. So in some ways, just because it's not a Linken's game, this does allow the Dusa to be able to scale into damage a lot faster, and that sounds good, but at the same time, Complexity's team is actually well adept to deal with that damage at this 20 to 35 minute marker.
Yeah. With that said, though, she does still have to build the BKB. She has it already. She needs it because if the EMP hits her, she loses almost all her mana pool, and then she's a worthless hero because she's not offsetting her low damage with high tankiness.
I love what Complexity is doing here. They're keeping kind of spread. They're trying to sweep through the jungle, catch anybody out, but Virtus Pro not to be caught, it seems, unless... Oh, okay. Never mind. FG thought he was hiding in a cubbyhole inside the jungle. Says Necro 3's out. Didn't manage to TP away in time, though. Complexity do get one, but Virtus Pro, it was smart overall because I don't think anything can fight Complexity. When you've got Pipe, Crimson Guard, all these team fight heroes, it looks overwhelming.
How did they find him in the trees though? Did they tornado or something?
I think they saw the Necro 3 come out, and I think Chessie also just naturally threw a tornado for vision. You know, you knew that most likely Virtus Pro was in the jungle and they were just like backing up. You hoped to be able to catch someone as they were trying to TP away, and it turns out, well, gee, he hadn't even tried that yet.
I see. Well, that's a really big pick. That was the enemy mid hero. He's only got Necro 3 at 22 minutes. This is actually quite slow, but he did have some trouble in the mid lane, and now he keeps dying. He's not been a part of kill kills. That's because Complexity, I think they're one of the most 5-man heavy teams I've ever seen.
Yeah.
They actually sit 5 all the time, and it works out. And especially in games like this, I really didn't even think they'd have a lot of success leading into this point in the game, but these last fights have just been so one-sided. EP on the Dusa, followed up by just killing everybody else.
I'm not sure which came their propensity to 5-man or their excellent team fighting capabilities, right? It just seems to play off each other. The fact that they're always 5-manning, but they're also one of the best teams at being able to team fight as a full 5. And it plays off of each other rather well, as we saw from that river fight much earlier on in the game, where Complexity were able to wipe EP 10-5. And G actually got to pop his Necro Book. Smart play there. He's able to find the rather aggressive and unusual vision placed by Complexity.
Free Observer Word. That's 100 gold.
Mm-hmm. Well worth it for G, as now Complexity grouped up around the mid lane. They definitely still look like auto dominant in team fights, and probably will for at least another 7, if not 10 minutes. But they also seem to have a really hard time of catching Virtus Pro. They're a rather slippery team, it seems.
Yeah, they kind of scan always when they smoke. And if you can do that correctly every single time, that's huge offset, because there's only so many smokes in the game. Scans are free, except for the cooldown thing. And that's kind of what they did in the last fight. Beastmaster still did get caught, so the smoke was ultimately worth it. But Complexity's net worths are just looking really strong.
It's not Manta, right? It's got it. Yeah, he's already got the order. I was like, I don't think Manta against the Axe sounds like a whole lot of fun. So, and it's been a long time since it used to be like always the build on Dusa, but it's actually been a while since we saw too many of those. Much preferring the heavy stat focus of the Scotty that allows you to get into that later game regression.
Yeah, it's way tankier. It's actually the tankiest item you can get on Medusa by far. It's way more than Heart gets, just because it gives you a huge amount of mana pool, as well as HP and armor. It's great, does everything. Manta does do pretty good damage just because your oceans can split shot as well, but what often happens is they just die really rapidly, and that extra damage amp isn't that valuable, especially because it's also a-physical. So she's got to go Scotty now, she's got to transition into probably Butterfly, maybe a damage item afterwards, and that's what she needs to carry her team, because right now she's got the high net worth, but nobody else is going to be matching her.
Yeah, certainly not. G once again trying to go for the push with his Necronomicon, and a tornado will come up. Actually, Count and is trying to go for the initiation. Now they're going to be able to get the ball as well. That false promise, I don't think it's going to be able to save FNG. He needs a blink away in 1 more second. The damage comes out, and they manage to get a right click from Honskin, stopping that one, but the blink does come up now, and FNG hides away in the trees and successfully TPs out Z-Freak, having a gander there with the stone. But
it was so close. Skin just Nova'd a moment too early. The BKB was still up. He dodged the damage then and gets the Blink Dagger off. So he just had to look at that timer slightly better. With him getting away, that means Complexity is back on the defensive 5-man farm foot again. And VP's going to continue trying to accelerate past this. But VP's now looking like they're going to get out farmed big time. And that's one thing I didn't notice at the start of the draft. It's like they just have a straightforward core lineup. Yeah, they've got a harder carry, but Beastmaster farms rapidly, sort of. Batrider's not really the same. Oracle really doesn't farm at all unless you team fight. And Wish Archer can farm, but it's just not the same as a hero like Tide or Axe. They're gonna get out farmed. If they don't take fights eventually, VP will get out farmed.
And it seems like Complexity in some ways. Okay,
Scotty sniped.
Full Scotty. Been taken out of commission there for Yoku for a couple minutes, but it seems like in some ways Complexity were like trying to find those fights, they couldn't find them. They're like, fine. If they're gonna play like 1 hero farming and like 4 heroes off map constantly and sitting behind the Dusa, out farm them. They've only got, as you said, the single core Dusa. We can still handle that.
Can definitely handle it, honestly. Unless it's like Stick Slaw with rapiers or something like that. They've got it. And then even then you can get blade melts and stuff. Maybe.
Say that now, but the progression of the game may lend itself to a 70-minute game. We'll see. Complexity, what do you think their next round of timings really come down to? Because they've already taken most of the outer towers. There's still just that tier 2 left at top lane. Is it an item progression thing, or is it something about pickoffs, or maybe even Roshan
Yeah, it's a lot of that stuff, I guess. They've got a gem now on Tide Hunter, so they'll try to take out the wards that their opponents have. That'll transition them to more aggressive wards, and then when they can start seeing where VP is moving consistently, that's when they start getting active on ganks again. But right now, they don't have the ward vision. They just put one down near the Roche area again. And they've got to grab those ganks. G's actually just using his Necro 3 as a pseudo gem. He's moving it around, he's finding the wards, and he's killing them. And it's the right thing to do, because if he buys a gem and loses it, it's even better for complexity.
Well, heading in the wrong direction with this Necro book. Not going to be able to see that river ward that's placed out by complexity. The roll here, top lane, Aloha Dance. And this is maybe the timing that we're really talking about. A pick off on Aloha Dance is definitely going to help out Mech and False Cross TP out. Aloha Dance going to live through this one. The kick actually stops him. Maybe if he got back to the fountain and got some regen, he could have lived, but no way. There, but so not necessarily an item thing for complexity, but just farming away, they start getting certain pickoffs here and there, and maybe we can progress forward with better map control. I would love to see a gem on complexity, actually.
They do have one. It's on the Tide Hunter, and he's super stacked. Got Blink Dagger, he's got Pipe, and he has Guardian Greaves. Kind of cool build for this, and I really feel like his farm was mainly just accelerated this fast because Aaron Talon, from the start of the game to here, he's been consistently farming neutral camps and pushing creep waves and helping with fights. He's had a really good game so far.
Okay, we said they're slow at doing it, but complexity finally feel confident enough to be like, hey, it doesn't even matter if Burns broke up. We'll slowly but surely do.
They do have Gush.
Gosh, Chesty
just as good as Venge, alright? Just as good, if not better, because you can have... No, actually it's not.
Chesty dude does a lot of right click damage as well with his Orchid build.
Yeah. See how he transitions, BKBs perhaps, could go, oh yeah, he's gonna go for that one new item, the Bloodthorn.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think that's absolutely the right thing, because Dusa, what's the natural build after Scotty? I think it's probably Butterfly, right? Really big
that or Manta, which would counter it, or the BKB he currently has counters it. There's actually a lot of solutions that Medusa has against it, but you're right, it does remove the Butterfly. If you can fight through the BKB, it's a great item to have, and even against other heroes that they're up against. Bloodthorn's gonna change a Quest Invoker who normally has a bit of damage issues. He's gonna just start like 4-shotting these supports who already have low armor, so with the silence on top of that, it's gonna be real good.
Yeah, exactly. That's where really I was thinking, is the fact that if you are getting the better farm and you think you can be able to push this late game against the Dusa because you have better just like multiple cores to be able to fight on, you need this Invoker to be a heavy right-click physical damage sort of sustained hero. Thorn will certainly help out with that. See where he goes from there. 16,000 net worth on the Medusa right now. The other three right behind are all complexity cores. Again, the issue, the Beastmaster and Batrider falling behind.
Yeah, those heroes just don't farm as fast. It's a very weird choice here for FNG to go BKB before Force Staff. But it was almost useful. It actually saved him earlier, so sure. Having a little bit of magic immunity can be good. And if he initiates hypothetically with just like a 4-step, then he gets tornadoed or he gets ravaged, the whole fight ends because Barrett will just die out of position. So it just allows VP to be a bit stronger in case those fights do actually happen. So for now, he's just going to stop the push. He can deal with this pretty easy, and Cold's still going to be a little bit scared to initiate. They really don't want to lose any fights, and it's so scary against a Medusa.
Right.
Because if you get too over-aggressive and Yoku pops ult and you're slowed by 50% for that many seconds over a duration of 7, basically, how do you retreat from that? If they get if a one-team fight, it's just going to power level their networks.
Napalm Bloodstone. Pretty ridiculous when you think about it when it comes to turn rate issues.
Yeah, that's true.
Complexity finally gonna go high ground here. They've got Crimson Guard and Pipe activated. They just get a bit of chip damage on tier 3. Start backing up. Both middle lane and top lane are heavily pushed in. I'm not sure if Complexity are just ignoring that. Okay, this is our time to start chipping away, or if they're gonna back off and take the efficiency of farm.
I mean, it's fine for now, I think. They will ultimately go back. They did a bunch of damage to the tower. This forces VP to rotate and sit around for it, so I think it's okay for them. They're just going to get more and more farmed. Like, at this point, Tidehunter is actually very, very hard to kill. He's lacking some HP, I guess, but with a plate mill on top of all these items, I just don't see a very good way that VP kills him anymore.
2 minutes on the Aegis. Virtus Pro can see how scared they are. Heading right on back to base with so many members complexity off map, but the truth is that VP are actually just playing 4 heroes in the dire jungle and 1 up at top lane. Be the first to show.
Got a plate mail as well. Or possibly an AC, I think I'd like to see an Axe. Shiva's on the Tide, most likely, would be the best. He actually did no damage.
Yeah, you could right-click him for years and years and years with that Scotty and the Boar, keeping his windows in place, but it doesn't actually mean you would kill him. He's still got the Guardian Greaves active.
He's got his mana back, it's the only way. It's actually one of the downers. Veil's up on Earthspread as well, so his team fight should be really good. Drum of Endurance 4 stat on CM on the way. And she's getting close to 16. This is also significant. I really like CM later stages in the game, especially if you get mobility items and some general stat increases. A hero like Oracle's almost always going to be really linear in what he does. He stops the stun, throws some nukes out, some super weak disables, somehow worse at crystal maintenance. But compared to what CM can do, it's just not the same. And especially the uptime now of Nova and Frostbite, you can just keep casting disables that are going to make heroes like Medusa, Beastmaster, and Batrider just really worthless once their BKBs run out. Just looking really scary for VP, especially because the one support they have that could do a lot, Witch Doctor, doesn't even have an Axe. It's not even close to it. Hasn't even considered it.
So, tier 2 it is. Then Complexity will finally claim that last outer tower of Virtus Pro. Virtus Pro responds by, I guess, pushing at the bottom. It's not really much being gained again. Still much. Always only the Medusa. She's always on the front line. She's always getting the CS, but no one else is getting anything in return. And we're still going to see some very squishy prompts for Yoku, as you see from that EMP burning out all the mana.
So he picks up a Maelstrom next, kind of a cool choice, especially against all the armor that's coming out of Complexity for items. But they also do have the fight. So, yeah, I think it's an alright choice. You ever go this build on Medusa? I don't know if you ever played the hero, but...
Yeah, I think it's kind of nice to be able to very quickly push out waves even faster with your split shot and Maelstrom, and maybe this will create a little bit more space. And then also, you know that the Medusa is going to be a target, right?
Yeah.
Big old target on her face. It's like that red little jewel on her forehead. Just kind of says, Complexity, please hit me. I'm only carrying this game. So, in some ways, the Mjolnir active can actually come to play as well.
It can reflect a lot of damage for sure. I just don't know if I'm sold on it. I guess it's pretty good. It's good against Axe as well, because I guess if he Battle Call or Berserker's Calls and he increases armor temporarily, you're still going to cut through it a bit. I guess it's alright. And there aren't any BKBs yet on Complexity, so magic damage I guess is the way to go right now.
I would have been down for the Manta just to be able to split push out waves. Not necessarily for what it does inside team fights, but just to start sending solutions down the side lanes.
That's a good point.
But
I mean, he can still buy it right now. I mean, it's still a great item for Medusa. Maybe not much now because he's not going as stat heavy of a build due to having to get BKB and now Maelstrom. So maybe he passes it up eventually, but he could even do something like S and Y, honestly. Maybe.
You know, you're being outfarmed with the Axe is almost even with the Medusa.
Yeah, that's real crazy. And he hasn't even gone like anything ridiculously farming heavy. Other than mobility, obviously, Blink and Force can get him from camp to camp faster.
It's just, I don't know, Virtus Pro, I'm not sure when they really lost it, but they seem to have gotten into this ultra defensive mode at one point in time.
Yeah.
And they took no risks, but at the same time, taking no risks means that you're going to be very inefficient with everything you do. And they're obviously playing off the fact that they feel like the Deuce is going to be able to out-carry everything in late game, so it only matters if she gets the farm, but I'm not sure if that's going to be the case with the way the Complexity are racking up so many items and so much of a gold advantage.
Yeah. But a lot of teams have had success with the Ultimate Turtle. In the OG Secret Series, it was the same thing. You're really far behind, but it doesn't matter if you get the right heroes. You can take a high ground fight and sometimes turn that around with smart play. It's got great heroes for that. Medusa and Batrider. If they get out of position, they pull somebody back. If they overdive, Medusa uses ulti and they can try to punish on the retreat. But Complexity has just done these really, really safe background pokes, and it's completely valid. For every match won here, they get like an extra $10,000. Not to mention the fact that they would ideally like to get to the grand finals. So if Complexity has this early advantage, why mess around? Play it safe. It's VP to make mistakes. Kill the map vision and try to better fights against your opponents.
Smoke for smoke. Who's going to be running into who, and who will have the high ground advantage right now? It's Complex. And the Dire Secret Trauma. Pickoff potential is there for Chesney. He's instantly on, and Complexity don't even try and do anything here now. FNG is actually going to be looking for more. Quickly force himself and flying to the right hand side, but D-Freak, he actually caught. He's going to go for TP out. As soon as he disables, flame break, and yep, it's away.
I don't know where they use Flame Break on Batrider, but
I think he threw it out there to maybe get some sort of vision or something. I knew he threw it out to the right when he was kind of like force staffing.
Look, Crystal made it.
Pumpkin. Yeah, he's got. Whoa, Flame Break bounced him over a little bit farther. The Axe is chopped into the trees, and they get the kill.
All right. So finally, VP some much needed kills. In the meantime, Limp is still pushing on the top lane. He's got a couple sets of armor here, and the tower is falling pretty fast. No last one for 28. So, great denial of his Blink Dagger, and he's going to BKB TP here.
And Lasso still not up for another 20 seconds. So, good push there. I would feel like that play quite a bit. That was a smart play by Axe. It created space. And that was the thing. Like, Virtus Pro, while they got those takeoffs, it was right outside Roshan pit, but Roshan isn't back up yet. The tier 1s are gone from bottom lane and mid lane, so no objectives gained whatsoever from VP. And if anything, no real map control gained either with that play by Axe. Of course, so many members of VP up the top lane.
Yeah, I mean, the game might eventually get into some kind of a weird rat scenario where Complexity with their heroes that aren't really cut out for it are just going to hit builds and try to take Iraq's advantage. They've got to poke and prod a little bit.
What a weird world we live in. That could be a possible Dota game on our hands, but...
You know what else is weird? AC on Axe isn't even good anymore.
Oh yeah,
he does pure damage, so it's like, well, he attacks hard, I guess. That's cool.
Yeah, and we saw it. Quickly, Jesse. Oh, yeah. Pull back with Lasso. Limp's going to try and intercept with the call. Will be able to grab No Fear, stopping that death ward. Chesney goes for a couple right clicks, but he still ends up going through. And Limp misses the calling play. Things out for Complexity onset his team fight, and it looks to be going even worse. Now as the rest of the DP start coming forward, G is going to be able to find the roar on his D-Brick. Big rabbit. Complexity going to try and turn this one around. The Crazy Field right outside of range, and will be stopping the flame break. G tries to run out, but is caught by Limp. KB activated with the Stone Case going out. Caught multiple heroes there with that one, but the damage just really isn't seem to be enough. Virtus Pro may have overestimated their team fight power. Now they need to be able to get the hell out of here, but Aloha Dance can't really save Yoku. He's continuing to go for rock clicks, but not able to kill anybody here, and will eventually get popped just like that. Complexity. It cost them a buyback there from Chelsea, but well worth it as they manage to take down 3 heroes of Virtus Pro. Will be able to force some buybacks of their own by pushing through mid.
It cost them so much to kill him. It was Lasso and the Witch ulti, but the Medusa very clearly is not doing enough damage, especially against Anchor Smash and the Quinton Guard. Like, she got a great ulti off, she stone formed a couple of heroes, but it did nothing. They're just way too tanky. Ty just didn't die. He was actually invulnerable in that fight.
Best of both worlds, really. Complexity managed to force the buyback Medusa and will still be able to give the Aegis into their hands. That'll be for Chesney. Very clearly then the target number 1 for VP.
First Spirit got blown up pretty fast too. I don't think we saw a very impactful ult out of him, but despite the great start from VP, just very, very one-sided fight. And Invoker's still going to scale. Ty's going to continue to scale, at least until he runs out of item slots. CM got a bunch of gold in that fight too, picks up a Ghost Scepter now. They're still vulnerable to the initiation of VP, but it's clear their damage isn't scaling.
If the initiation is a problem, is there a possibility you need to start considering like a Lincoln's on Chessie? Obviously he's good for now because he has the Aegis, but it seems like the fights almost impossible for Complexity to go back into when there is one Boker at play.
That's a good point. I was thinking for sure this would be a Hex, but yeah, he picked up a Perseverance, because once they don't have Roar or the Lasso, he should be able to possibly just walk away, throw a Tornado for example, Ghost Walk. Yeah, I think the Lincoln's, he's buying it. Definitely pistol fights, not too expensive, and you can put those other big items like maybe Blink Dagger after the Lincolns, Hex after that.
What are they thinking here? Do they really believe they can kill Chessie twice in a row with Lasso, Primal Roll? Maybe there's going to be a boost to triple TP in as well. Complexity will be able to respond. Oh no, Lasso and Primal Roar used. This is not good at all. Maybe they'll kill one top Chessie. Instant TP out by FNG, and they know they really switched Pooch on the initiation. G's going to be the one caught perhaps though, as they do have the Battle Hunger slowing him down. G tries to go for the TPL. Limp can't stop him. Snowball's up, and unfortunately Z3 can't be there in time. So VP, they kind of recovered that one. It was a little nasty, but they did take away the Aegis, and they still managed to get out unimpeded.
And it's fine for them to trade cooldowns like that, because Lasso and Roar are fairly low cooldowns, about 70 seconds for each, so Aegis killed for nothing. Nobody dies there. Complexity didn't really lose any cooldowns, but their next push is going to be a bit tougher. Lincoln should be flying out on Invoker now, and Tide 4,000 gold. What does he get next? Eggs, maybe? You like eggs on Tide?
Yeah, I like eggs. I'm down with the Aghanims. Just because at this point, I've heard some arguments about eggs and whether or not it's actually good, but at this point, there aren't too many other items that Tidehunter goes for, even as luxury. You could talk about like the Refresher or Octarine or something like that, but...
What about Radiance?
More missed percentage chance?
I actually think it's an alright Radiance game, as disgusting as it is.
These fights are going to be, I think, really thought out.
And he's not going to die. Like,
yeah. Probably going to have to take a few deep breaths for this one, as it looks like this is the chance for Complexity to go for the high ground. Even without the Aegis, are beating up the tier 3 tower. Starting off with paralyzing cast, slowing things down, making sure that Complexity don't feel comfortable actually going for the main buildings here.
We used a lot of their defensive items, the Pipe, the Crimson, and the Guardian Greaves. At the very least, they got away for those cooldowns, unless they get great jump.
Sure enough, they back away. 5,700 gold on this axe. Good lord, I don't even know what he tries to swap out, because you still want the Blink Initiation. Maybe you get rid of Force Staff at some point in time for some higher tier item. I don't even know what that is. Is it hard?
I would have liked maybe an Abyssal Blade, something like that. Would be kind of cool. But he's already got Crimson. Kind of need the Crimson. They definitely need the Crimson. But he's actually 6-slotted for an axe.
Yeah.
Sure, Orb is good too.
Yeah.
You can double Berserker's Call. And then...
Okay, it is the Refresher. Double ults it is for Swindles.
That's
double
good too.
Shivas. Double Pipe.
Oh, and that's stacks. Oh my god.
Okay.
The Ravage Pipe, Mech, Refresh Pipe.
Well, it's time. Ursa finally had some damage. That damage is only going to last for another 10 to 15 seconds. So EP really hoping that Complexity would stumble to them by going into that high ground, but what actually happened?
She needs to buy a Rapier. Because they need to win a fight.
Really does.
They're having trouble.
You need some just raw, good old, straight up DPS. And I don't see any other way to obtain that but a Divine Rapier at this point. It looks like he may be considering Butterfly. We talked about how that's going to be canceled out by Chessie and his Bloodthorn. But more importantly, VP for this push, the Alacrity and the AV. This is going to actually chop this building down pretty damn quickly. He's a lumberjack, but he's rapidly becoming more of a stonemason.
And everything I wanted carries my life so bad.
He slows down, takes the pins of damage here, but Medusa, okay, force down save, keep that mana intact. Limp going for the next round. It's going to be Chet who's able to finish him off, unless they get initiation. Now pulling back Limp, dropping lower, but a force down gets him over the cliff, and Yoke can't keep him in place. He managed to get the Roar to cancel down Swindle, managed to get a Ravage, only close to the FNE, but a Refresher Ravage will be all the better as they get more. Limp with the call, 1, 2, next get 3 as he starts to chase down No Fear, buyback on FNG, the rest of Birdie's Pro. They know they have to get so much out of these fights, but Complexity, they're like, just get out, guys, get out as fast as possible, and it's a clean retreat. He don't lose a single hero. Rex, full buybacks from VP, everything in the world gained by Complexity, and VP now backs against the wall if they weren't already before.
It's just very hard to fight through that. The first Roar came out, immediately broke Kraken's shell, wasted entirely. And Swindles gets 2 Ravages out of the fight. The first one was alright, the second one was amazing. And it made Axe look like he was a carry. He was just sitting there right-clicking people down. Like, he could just buy a damage item at some point. That's what it looks like it's gonna happen. Abyssal Blade, maybe... I don't know. Yeah, I know this is that too ridiculous to say. Mjolnir perhaps would be really good on him also.
Yeah, Mjolnir isn't so bad. It is very odd scenario. I think at a certain point you start switching out the Crimson Guard for something else, but I think the heart being picked up, that's still a bit of damage.
Yeah,
Right-clicking of the axe, obviously a huge increase in HP, and you are getting to a point where Virtus Pro can start chipping away at this axe and maybe kill him. We saw him last team fight. If it wasn't for the force step over the cliff, he might have actually been stuck inside the base, and we could have seen perhaps a different team fight. But as it is, Flex a gigantic lead over Virtus Pro as they're pushing this later and later into the late game against the Medusa, but it just doesn't seem to matter.
Yep, so they're going to be really passive for 100 seconds. They got to wait for a refresher on Tide Hunter. Because with that up, we've seen it does some pretty nice things. Pretty much everybody on Complexity is sitting around waiting for the next items. VP, on the other hand, they're I don't think they need to be this scared. This is a timing window. They don't have Ravage, they don't have Refresher. This is the moment where VP needs to go around and look for a kill now. Maybe get some dewarding done, push lanes out, get some farm, but like you said before, they're not taking any risks, and this is one risk that you can justify you just taking.
Ironic, really, that the team player called No Fear may actually be losing this game number 3 off of their fearful plays, cowering inside base constantly. Too scared to actually jump out. They're going to know that Roshan is going to be potentially getting up soon. Looks like the timing's a little bit off, as the potential Roshan timer hasn't even come up just yet.
Did it take you a long time to think about that one?
No, it's not.
Did you prep
I
that
was
one ahead?
just waiting and waiting for the setup, really. Man. Come on, play. Woo! More farming time, boys.
Yeah.
When you're ahead, get farther ahead in a Game 3 elimination match,
Yeah, that's basically what's been happening consistently. They're getting so farmed on all their heroes though. Like Z-Freak has 3 great utility items. 2 hats, and a little like cool jewelry piece. I'm sure he wears around his neck like a necklace. We could like roars, flaming lasso, right or back. That's actually huge if you can do that. Fuel hard counter. Hand skin as well. Pretty farmed. I really like Blink Dagger at some point. There it is, finally picked up.
Oh,
They needed that.
Stadium's happy with this one because finally we're going to see a fight out of Virtus Pro, and it's going to be one of those game-ending fights potentially. Losing that Divine Rapier, the game is definitely over, but it could give VP finally the damage to stop this tanky Complexity team.
And if he loses this, man, you gotta watch out for like DPS Crystal Maiden, DPS Axe. Like there's good 4 heroes on Complexity that this would be scary in the hands of. 4K gold now in Axe, like he actually just keeps buying items. It's insane. Yeah, I would
He's
definitely
start popping moonshards soon. He's gonna be like, alright guys.
I think he sells Crimson Guard, gets Abyssal. Similar item, much more expensive, better physical damage. It's actually more magic. I think the bash is magic. I'm gonna do some research, see you in a bit.
Alright, sounds good. We'll cover this exciting 50-minute game between Complexity and Virtus Pro. There's a lot of tension in the air. There's a little sarcasm about exciting, but it is kind of exciting in the way that the tension is building up. It's all going to come down to one last defense here, Virtus Pro, but in the meantime, we're going to watch a lot of heroes sit back, farming away. Swindles and his boys want to make sure that they secure this Game 3. They don't want to be walking away from Epicenter with any regrets.
I think it's gonna be tough for that to happen because right now Swindles is like the most farmed Tide Hunter I've ever seen. It is 50 minutes in, but he's got actually everything he probably ever wanted. Maybe swap out the Force Step, but Force Step's too valuable an item for what it actually gives you in a lot of ways. Late game, just a little bit of positioning or that kind of unpredictability the VP wastes abilities, and if they do that, the fight just becomes one-sided.
It's funny, it's like the Force Staff, the upgrade to the Force Staff, Hurricane Pike is exactly the opposite, right, of what Complexity want. They want to get as close as possible to VP, so that's not even any sort of efficiency trade they can look for here. As they finally are going to still do Roshan. It's going to be Aegis and Cheese. So the Chessie, the extra life, and Cheese will be picked up by Z-Freak for now, for use, or perhaps hand off to the Invoker when the time is right and the Aegis is burned.
So they just sit back. They let Limp hit the building as carries should. It's got a little bit of HP, 4,000.
You know, I did see a really big freezing field coming out here because you either got double Ravage to set up, or you definitely have some good disables on B, but they're all going to be used on the first 10 seconds of a fight, and these fights will draw out, and I could very much see Crystal Maiden being able to blink in a little bit later on.
This would be a really good time to have a Blade Mail as well an Axe. Now that the Medusa actually hits really hard on a single target, because it's going to reflect physical. You could potentially kill her with this, and her armor is actually not that high. And he's got AC.
Right. Crimson Guard 2 to be used to call on Fubu, start pulling him back into the EMP, and it is successful, pulling him up, it's already down, the first Ravage going down, and they got up Yoku. Immediately, the Oracle responds to the false promise as well as BKB being used, a lot being blown by Virtus Pro, but it's still going to come up, it's going to be lit. They keep him around this middle tier 3 area, and will be able to, oh, the Ravage initiated back in, and no, he wants to save it from it, he's going to go down, but it doesn't matter, they've already got the damage out, Chesney starts turning towards the end, buyback on the X, and they want to finish the game. Taking out the news and then on the ground. They're gonna go for it. They take FG. Yoku, pick up your Divine Rapier, save your life. It's picked up by No Fear. They need to be able to kill No Fear somehow and actually get the Divine Rapier back in the hands of Yoku. They managed to get the call. OG as well as No Fear. Both gonna end up going down. Yoku, him against the world with the buyback coming out now. But got it. He gets the page. Will be able to pick up the Divine Rapier. And oh, Complexity start retreating away. Another call. Evan gonna be the target. Already down to half HP. And Jesse wants to be able to finish him off, and he is successful. 2 members down, down permanently, and 3 without buyback. Virtus Pro on the edge here for Epicenter.
Oh, that cat. It's fine of time.
Jesse close by, but Tornado allows them to be able to disengage.
And they might go back into action.
They sees the opportunity. EST goes Yoku disables the silence. Yoku needs some help, and Aloha is able to respond in time. Falls from keeping alive. BKB activated, and that exactly a ton of damage. Let him go down again. That's 2 minutes on the clock. Oh, Complexity got the hell out of dodge, so they can't afford to lose any more heroes with 1 down for so long against a Divine Rapier.
I actually thought that game was over entirely, but they just couldn't quite close it out, and the Rapier was on the ground so long. I really thought somebody from Complexity would drop an item and pick it up and get out. Then you have huge network advantage over your opponents, but Axe didn't drop anything. He just want to, I guess. But honestly, if you drop BKB or Blink Dagger at that point, you wouldn't drop Blink, surely. But maybe if you drop BKB, you could buy a new one later, and it's just the same. And then you'd be hitting for like 4 times the damage.
Anything to keep it out of the Medusa. It's not got a gigantic pool of gold to be able to fall back on. That's the Divine Rapier. She's still trying to progress that item build, but ultimately, Virtus Pro here, they do manage to hold. It cost them 5 buybacks. They do not lose this kind of racks. They don't even lose another 3 tower. Complexity trying to finish up the game through hero kills and were unable to finish it off.
Well, they're going mid. I think they realize that they don't have a lot of opportunities here to keep the game going the way it is. They've got a lot of boots of travels ready. Beastmaster's set on this. 8 seconds for his TP. Gotta get some hero kills, but take some towers while Axe is dead.
On the top lane, they're going to be able to get Hanskin. A gigantic hero kill, but when Complexity has such a large lead, it's actually worth a massive 803 gold, and a champ picked up as well. That's almost 2,000 golds.
Well, joke's on them. There aren't that many more on the map, so that won't be that useful. Suckers. No, I'm just kidding. Invoker as well as the other Complexity heroes should get some more awards soon, and he's very close to his next item. 4.5k gold.
With KB. Again, gotta get some physical damage in for this Invoker. I still can't believe that Dusa is actively trying to fight 3 different heroes. They're all neck and neck for top at the 27k range.
And they almost made the fight competitive too. That was the craziest. They can still win this game. They just got to get a really blast out. They got up some bad team fights, and they got BKB at the right time. If they could BKB as Tide goes in first one, that cleared out 1 Ravage completely. That's like 6,000 gold of refresher wasted.
Axe got so much gold, so much network to be able to work with, but he is still a problem, I believe, with that buyback on cooldown still. 24-11, 56 minutes in. This is game 3 between Virtus Pro and Complexity. Virtus Pro, the whole entire crowd is behind them here at EPICENTER, home turf. But it may not matter as Complexity are holding a sizable lead, not just in gold, but they've already still taken the top lane of Rax. Virtus Pro, they haven't been able to get much hope in this game besides their Divine Rapier. They're holding on to that one tight. That is, it is their only way back in this game, is they need to be able to defend multiple times against Complexity and then start gaining some control of the game itself, or maybe in some crazy play be able to wipe Complexity twice and take away his buybacks and go for the end game. But that's a long story to tell, and I feel like we're probably going to be waiting with a few more minutes to see some progression. Right now, Complexity are very happy to sit back, arm up some more buybacks, make sure that the Axe has his, and maybe get a couple more physical damage.
Why don't they just go? Like, nobody on VPS buybacks means any kill you get guarantees a kill. Yes, you only have 3 buybacks on your heroes, but... And yes, one of them is not Axe.
I think they're going to in like the next minute. I know they've got a pretty good swath of time, right? 2.5 minutes still until all those buybacks are back for Virtus Pro. There's a butterfly for Yoku. We did talk about how that's kind of countered out by the Bloodthorn, but...
And now the MKB on. He's real for that one, so not that big of a deal. And they do end up buying a Blade Mail and Axe. This is really what he needs against the Rapier. So he can, if he calls the Medusa now, doesn't matter BKB or what, she's gonna do a lot of damage to herself.
It seems like it just doesn't matter. One thing Virtus Pro have to have is the initiation, as whether it's the Axe, the double Ravages, or even just the Invoker getting the chance to right-click Yoku. They can't afford to let Complexity determine how this fight's going to be able to start. FNG goes for the jump on Chesky with Tornado, immediately puts the top of that one. BKB activated, now the callback. Ultimate get a lap on his window, but he just gets blown up. Chesky right-click was down so damn fast, and Yoku can't actually get enough in return. Maledix is taking down Limb. He'll be looking healthy in another 10 seconds time. 60 more seconds on the clock. The bottom lane of Rax is actually being threatened by just creeps alone. Complexity, they don't care. They feel in this game. Tier 3 already down in mid lane. Swindle start jumping forward with Mischievous, slowing down some of these heroes. There it is. Worked out for him. Managed to get up the Ravage. Yoko is actually pulled up by Limp as well. And now the Ravage goes out of Yoko, out of mana, out of HP. He's dead for 2 minutes. The control will getting taken out here. Complexity took their time, but they secured this win airtight as they sit to almost an hour-long match, but will progress here at EPICENTER.
They were not messing around with this game, and they had a very funky draft, but they got so much early game control that completely kept BP in the base. They starved him out. They eventually take some teamfight wins. Very cool itemization to see. The co-op center, you're like, yeah, let's see how Carry X is going to transition his item build into the late game. It's basically the same. Almost all the item builds very similar, but it was a really fun game to watch, and cool to see that they can make it work without a regular carry, against a regular carry.